Okay, so hello. So it looks like we are live now, right? So hello everyone. How is everyone doing? Hope all is well and stay safe during this upcoming festive holiday season. So welcome to the first edition of Xing Live. My name is Xing and I will be your host today. Before I begin, I would like to thank all of you who are watching right now. This is live for everybody, everyone. Everyone has a unique story to tell. Do you have one? What is your story? We would like to hear from you. Today, I have a special guest with me, live from Melbourne, Australia. He's currently run his own driving business school, serving many migrants in Melbourne over the years. Many of us in the community knows him. Some of us are just about to know him soon after this live. So now I do not want to take up any more spotlight away from him. So let us hear from the man himself. So ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together to welcome Mr. Josh Lee. Hi, Josh. First of all,
Hi.
I'd like to thank you for joining us today. We know that you are always busy, and actually we appreciate you taking some time off your busy schedule to come and share with your story with all of us today. So can you please actually tell us about yourself in the early years?
Hi, Shane. Good evening from Melbourne. Hi, everyone. First of all, I would like to take a few seconds to acknowledge Shane for starting this initiative to talk to many Malaysians, especially in Melbourne, about their story. And I'm very honored to be the first one. Right. Myself, I have been in Melbourne for 14 years. I came here in 2006. So myself is that before I came to Melbourne, I was educated in KL. I attended a primary school in the heart of KL, Jalan Ampang. It's called the Liming School, primary school. It's well known for its academic excellence, and it's a very prestigious school in the 70s. And then I went to Singapore to further my studies in the secondary school. I spent 4 years there before I came back to KL to enter Taylor's College for my South Australia matriculation and some other accounting courses. And I then went to England to further my study in computer system management. That's in short myself.
What were actually your ambition back then when you were in actually a primary school?
Well, interesting that you asked this question. When you had this question put forward to me a few days ago, all these memories, childhood memory, are all starting to unfold. All this nostalgic memories starting to return in the blink of an eye. And I remember when I was a child, I wanted to be a professional soccer player because during that time, Malaysia, the two sports that was well known in Malaysia at that time, one is badminton, the other one was football. And I was watching, the Merdeka tournament every year, and now no longer exists the Merdeka tournament, and also the Asian Games and then Olympic Games. So my idol at the time was some of the local players. Like, I don't know whether people heard about it, but it's basically made up of three races. It's like Mokhtar Dahari, Sochit An, and Santokh Singh during our time. So I wanted to be a professional soccer player. Was very much wanted to be there, pursue the dreams. But unfortunately, in our era, being a professional soccer player is not heard of. So I think the dream just died off there and then.
Okay, so have it actually changed ever since? I mean, what is, I mean, over the period of, when you go to secondary and over the uni, I mean, yeah, did your actually change?
Yeah, of course. The primary is a year that you full of imagine. It was the years that a person would full of imagination. Some of them are really unrealistic. But coming to teenage years and adult years, obviously things have changed. I wanted to be a historian because I like history and I have always scored good marks in history classes. Knowing all the different historic figures and then the world wars, and even now I watch news is mainly on history. So then then again, I choose computer system management rather than history because at that time the university did not offer this degree in history. So I sort of miss out again.
Okay, right. It's quite interesting, right? So, please share about your life and your career journey, back in when you were in Malaysia.
Right, as I mentioned, I had a degree in computer system management. Obviously, my career is going towards that direction. I have been a IT consultant for since the age of 22, so for about 20 odd years. And when I came to Australia, I was also working as an IT consultant. But and after 2.5 years, I said enough is enough. Then I moved on and I actually dropped my career and doing something else. Yeah.
Okay, right. So now that you are actually in Melbourne, so maybe you can describe, what is your typical weekday or weekend like?
Well, like I just want to continue for where I left off. I'm now a business owner of a driving school. No longer in the corporate world. So running your own business is not a 9 to 5 job. There's a lot of freedom. You can actually schedule your day on your like how you want it. So in my driving school business, my weekday is my weekend, and my weekend is my weekdays. I hope you understand what I mean, because a lot of my clients come to me for driving lessons uh, on the weekend. So I have some time during the weekdays where I run uh, the business and other business as well. So I currently have two businesses. So it's pretty much weekday would be when I say weekdays, sometimes could be Saturday and Sunday. We're doing the business, and the business is part of daily life. But I make sure that I not like back home in Malaysia. You actually stay late because of the traffic. You don't get to go home. And now I reach home on time. I had dinner with my family. So I have a lot of family life, and I appreciate or I told my children that I want to emphasize on family life. So working and with a family. So I have a work life balance now in Melbourne.
Yeah, that's very good to hear that actually,
Mm-hmm.
talk about the work-life balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have actually a favorite place to go to? I mean,
Wow. Coming to Australia, I my aim is to have a work-life balance. So it's pretty much the place I like to go to in Australia, in Melbourne. It's to the nature. So here there are many parks, reserves, grass, green field, forests that I like to actually walk in the nature into all these places. So these are my favorite places. Unlike, I think, back home in Malaysia, probably this kind of nature place are very much very less. But in Melbourne, there are many. So I go to all these places. So I'm actually more attached to nature. So that's the place I like to be now in Melbourne.
I see, I see. It's very interesting to hear that. Do you have any particular hobbies?
Well, my hobbies, like I mentioned just now, I like to walk in the park. Uh, Sometimes go to some lakes. I do some cycling and I play basketball with my daughter because we have actually put up a basketball rink in front of the house. So again, a lot of times I spend with my children. We go and do hobbies together, like cycling, walking in the park, um, doing things like sometimes in the house we would sit down together, probably play games together. So my hobbies are mainly with my family. On the personal aspect, my hobbies is actually meditation. So I do meditation every day. I don't know whether people have people heard about hobbies being meditation, but this is actually my hobby. So doing meditation, be able to keep myself calm and have a stable mind and a calm mind. So it trained me to be focused, to be aware of what's happening in my life. So that pretty much is my hobby as well. And also I have a treadmill. Just you can actually see. You don't see it here, but it's actually just next to me. So I do exercise like 3 days a week, running on the treadmills for half an hour. So that pretty much takes up a lot of my time.
I see, I see. Okay, we did mention something about, I mean, because my next question is actually, are you into any sports? So,
Ah,
so you did
yes,
mention basketball earlier on, right?
yes, yes. Well, if we talk about sports, it's like I mentioned to you, in primary school, I'm actually very fond of being a soccer player. So I've been following uh, the world football. Maybe put it this way, let's call it soccer. Yeah, the world soccer scene for many years, even now. Obviously, English Premier League is one of them. So I follow the sports, very closely, and my favorite team is Manchester United. So I've
Oh,
been following them since the 70s, 80s, 90s, and into the millennium. So yeah, I follow soccer and I play indoor soccer not very often now because age is catching up. But yeah, soccer is one of the sports that I follow. Obviously, I like to watch sports as well on the TV. Tennis, athletics, but the main focus is on soccer.
okay, right. Whereas the rest of them, like what you mentioned, the basketball, that one is
Well, it's
just,
just that this is just the hobby only, with my
oh,
daughter.
oh,
So not really following the sports worldwide. The one that I follow is soccer.
okay, right, 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 right. Yeah, that's common. What is your actually, okay, now we are coming to the topic of food, right? Which is quite
Mm.
a very popular topic among what is your favorite food?
Well, my favorite food would be any hawker food that you can find, only Malaysian hawker food that you can find in Melbourne, or street food like nasi lemak, some noodles, and those rojak, whether is it Indian rojak or the Chinese rojak. So a lot of this street food, when I talk about food, it's actually um, bring me back to my childhood and my teenage years. So the food that I like is always related to uh, my early years. So street food, we eat a lot of street food in Malaysia, a lot of hawker food, and I have a very sweet tooth, so I like chendol. I like all the nyonya kueh, like I can name you a few like kueh talam, kueh lapis, and kueh tutu, ang ku kueh, some of these. So I like all these kueh. And there's one dessert I like, which is called the sweet wheat porridge, or in Chinese they call it makjuk. So I am more into dessert and all these cakes, small cakes, Chinese nyonya cakes. So not much really onto the 8 course meal, or or eat all you can. Not really into all these. More like I said, the dessert, the sweet things.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So now that no, as we coming to a holiday season, so I
Mhm.
presume that no, our my next question is actually, where is your favorite holiday destination? Of course, this year is a bit of a different. I mean, what I'm saying is that under a normal year, I mean, where do you usually go for your holidays? What is your favorite place?
Well, I would say London, because London I have a lot of memories in London, because uh, the first foreign countries besides Singapore, the first foreign countries I actually visit, visited was London for my education. So I have, like I said, a lot of beautiful memories there. I met many friends, and London, as you know, it's full of all these architecture buildings. You talk about the Big Ben, Tower Bridge, talking about Buckingham Palace, Westminster Abbey. So I like all these ancient architect buildings. It also relates to history as well. Like I said to you, I like history. So when I look at all these buildings, I feel a sense of peace, and I want to know the history behind all these buildings, why it was built. Not so much about the architecture design of it, but the history that behind all these buildings. So and you know that in London, similar like in Melbourne, but in London there are many area of museums. The famous one of the favorite places I have is the National Art Gallery. I like painting, as you can see at the back there. There's one painting that I just I bought it years ago. So yeah, so that's my favorite place. Plus, I have an uncle who had migrated to UK in 1950s, and he's still alive. He's still there. He's close to 90 years old. So London is definitely the place that I'm fond of going again and again and never miss it. The first thing I go when I visit that place is I go back to my uni and look at my uni, and probably I won't recognize many of the staff there, because they have actually retired and new staff coming in. So, and also if I have a chance, I will watch live soccer in one of the stadium. Uh, in London would be the team to support would be Tottenham Hotspur, which is Spur in short.
Wow. Okay, you seems to know the soccer very well. Huh?
Mm.
Do you have someone you always look up to, as a mentor?
Yes, definitely. I think many people would have. For me, my mentor would be an American in the last century, who has, of course, has passed on. He is Napoleon Hill. And when I got in touch with Napoleon Hill Foundation in 2003, 2004, I was so fascinated by his principle. So I become a master trainer for Napoleon Hill Foundation, and a lot of his principle has has actually guided me in my life. For example, like definite major purpose, mastermind alliances like me and you, looking as a team, pleasing personality, like positive minded attitude, uh, something about personal initiative. So many of the principles have guided me for many years, now close to what, 16 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. What are the things that you actually miss doing in Malaysia now that you are here in Melbourne?
Okay, I can give you, I actually sit down. I miss the mama store. I miss the mama store. I miss wearing short and singlet and go to mama store and sit down there and watch a big screen on the soccer matches. I miss that. Obviously, of course, having said that, I miss my parents because when I was in Malaysia before I migrated, I always visit my mother. In fact, almost every week. So I miss her a lot. This is one thing that I feel very much, sort of some of a little bit of a sad thing in my life because I'm not able to be with my mom. She's healthy. She is now 84 years old. So I miss my mom, and I miss, like I said, wearing not, in Melbourne you always have jacket, you always have socks, you try to fight the cold, but in Malaysia we just wear singlets and shorts and slipper. So I miss that kind of casual kind of life.
I see. I see. Okay, right. Will you do things, differently? Actually, if you can actually turn back time, what are the things that you actually do differently? Anything in particular?
If you talk about, in particular, how I migrated from Malaysia to here, I would say no, because I would do the same thing again because I, I came here for more work and balanced life and for my children's education. So I will not do anything that is different from what I have done.
Okay, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much for that. Anyway, all right, everyone. This concludes the first part of my life. In the second part next week, Josh will share his story on his migration journey and why he chose Melbourne. He will also share his story on why he decided to switch career and how he came upon a business a year ago, which he never know that at that point in time that will actually help him through the period of lockdown this year. So stay tuned. Let's continue with part 2 of this interview with him next week. So once again, thank you, Josh, and everyone for watching my live. Actually, if you do like this live, please remember to share and let your friends know. We will actually see you all next week. And until then, you all have a good weekend ahead. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you.